Hi everybody, my name is Shannon. Welcome to my channel, Another Yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. Oh my, I started something else. We know I started something else. You think I can just not start something else? That is absolutely crazy talk. You know, for those that have like memorized my wall behind me, that's just a little chaotic with all the colors, you'll notice there's only one of these here. And this is kind of flipped over, right? I have my nice little cake right here. And I've had others. And let's see, I've got another one over here. Let me see. You know, these beautiful cakes. These are actually yarn art cakes. This is the Rose Garden. I think this one might be flowers. I'm not really sure, or midnight, or yeah, flowers moonlight. And what they mean by moonlight is it's got sparkle in it. And these are fantastic. You can get these cakes named yarn arts from a lot of different places for a lot less than what you're going to purchase these big, beautiful cotton cakes from Hobbii, HOBBII.com. Or you can go to Hirschner's and they have their Mystery Mill End cotton cakes, which is generally two of these. You don't get to pick the color. You don't get to pick if they have sparkle or not sparkle. But they're $15 for two of these. Amazing deals. I bought these on Etsy. If you go straight to Etsy and you type in Yarn Arts Cakes, you're going to get the yarn art stuff, but you'll also see other brands, right? You know how it's just to get you started, and then you can decide what you want to buy. So I've done this. These came straight from Turkey. I mean, they're made in Turkey anyway. And I specifically picked these colors out. I've gone through quite a few of my cakes, but they take a long time to work through. You know, when you have a label on, you get to see how much yardage and how much everything is in it. This one is 260 grams, 1,000 meters, which is 1,093 yards. That's a lot of yardage, and it takes a while to work through. Depending on who's labeling them, they're going to say they're anywhere from a 1 to a 2. You can decide. I use them as like fingering weight yarn, which is a number 1. And you can crochet with them, you can knit with them, you can do whatever you want to with them. I love, like I said, I absolutely love going to, I'm going to do that search, going to Etsy and looking up the flowers stuff. Let me pull that up. All my chargers and stuff are a little bit dead. I should have closed my room. Yarn Arts cakes. Otherwise, you're just going to get all the cake stuff, cake decorating things, and that's not what I'm interested in. All right, so when you do that, this is just Yarn Arts Cakes, just pulling that up, and you can see you've got, and you're going to have other brands in there, and that's what you want. And you can scroll through, and you're like, oh my gosh, this one right here, buy 10 balls, get 2 free. Perfect yarns. I've used them. I've bought from them previously. That's this one right here. I bought the 10 and got the 2. See, like, okay, that's that one right there. That is that one right there with the sparkle. And I have done that, and they'll run different specials. Right now it's 46% off, so they're $14 each. Your best bet currently is Hirschner's. They have their mysteries, and you get the 2 cakes for the $15. Now, they do say on the Hirschner's this time, which is really exciting, is they're saying that it's 2 cakes, but they're not telling you. So you could get the alpaca ones also, which is fantastic. I know Crystal from Bag O' Day, she ended up getting the alpaca ones in hers. I bought those separately, and I've got these. And they work up beautifully. And I started something else with it. But just to show you, before I show you what I started, because we got a cake missing over here, right? And those of you remember, it was blue with yellow, gorgeous, right? Started in the center. This is one of those cakes knit into a rather large circular shawl. And I've used one of the neon colored cakes, and I knit that into a hexagon big circle. I've made baby blankets with them before. And right now I'm making a big square. The intention is to give to my son and daughter-in-law for baby Noah. And this is my newest one. And I asked my husband, which order should I work out or work in? Here's the cake. If you remember, it was sitting up right here. And it had yellow on the outside, you know, so we've got the yellow green. So I've gone through all of the yellow, and he loved the idea, and I agree with him, of going from the yellow sunshine and then radiating out. So that's the route that I've gone, and I am making a square blanket with this. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. That is just gorgeous. And you're like, but why do you have this weird end hanging? I finished the round that finished off the yellow, and you can see I just had this much more of just the plain yellow. I'm going to cut that and just weave those ends in. The rest of this stuff, I'm not so concerned on where the yarn ends, but this bright yellow, this stark one color, no tweed, no marl and everything yellow, would have looked odd if I would have gone that many more stitches the next row and then went with the other color. So I did color control with the yellow, but not with any of the other stuff. I'm gonna just let that fly. And I love this. The pattern is pretty simplistic, pretty easy to follow along. It's a free pattern. Let me pull that one up so we, I give you the right name of it. You want the right name, right? Of course you do. But I added it in. It's the Grace Blanket, which I think is so appropriate. And if you want to see, this is what my ball of yarn looked like before I started working with it. That is the start of my ball of yarn right there. And it's beautiful. Grace Blanket by Lucia Stepanova. And that is a free pattern on Ravelry. And that is just absolutely stunning. And I like the name of it with it being Grace Blanket, since I'm making it for Noah, which is, our little miracle baby. Here you go. And that is how that looks. And I have got 20 rounds on this piece currently. And you're like, that's not significant. I get it. But the pattern right there, it goes, writes out and everything to 20 rounds. And then it says repeat rounds 9 through 20 until your blanket's as large as you want it. You've run out of yarn, whatever comes first. And that is where I'm at. So I have done all of the different rows on this at least once, and that is gorgeous. I love the transition, and I'm so happy I did that with breaking that, well, I haven't broke it yet, but breaking the yellow off, and then everything else will just flow the way that it's flowing. And let's see, and over here, so we've got that. Over here is where, that green, the darker green, had popped in previously. And I didn't want to color control any of that. I didn't care. All right, here. Right there is where that had popped in. And I don't think that is detracting like the yellow, the stark bright color yellow would have. And I think my husband was right in leaving that. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Leaving that in that format. And the other part I think is really interesting is in the pattern, it does say there's 2 rows that it says these are not symmetrical. And that is, at the beginning of the row, you might have 2 double crochet or the 3 double crochets. And at the end of the row before the mitered corner, you have 2. So that's just kind of giving you that heads up. And to me, it looks like my square is kind of off kilter. I like that. I just think that is cute and quirky and part of the design. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. I mean, obviously this is not blocked. I'm not going to block it, but that is gorgeous. And I'm loving this. And if you've ever worked with one of these cakes, I'm going to tell you right now, crocheting's a lot faster than knitting for working through them, but we already know that. I've knit quite a few of these cakes for shawls, blankets type things, and kids garments. And I've crocheted a few of them with the different brands, not necessarily the Yarn Hearts, but with the different brands. It is so exciting to go from one color to the next. I'm watching this as it unwraps, and I got the first color had all yellow, and then the second portion, it was, these are all wrapped together. Oh, don't lose my crochet hook. These are all wrapped together. But this spiral right here, you can see it's pretty much even. It's like half green, half yellow. Well, previously it was more yellow, and it's like there's 4 different strands that are already wound together. Some of your cakes will be almost like 4 sewing thread strands, a little bit bigger, that are run together, and they're not twisted. So people can have snagging issues. I've never had a problem with that, but some people do. This one, it is already twisted together, but it's still those same 4 strands. So what they'll do is when it gets to the next part, it will break off one color and put on the next, and in that strands, and it's wound in, and you have a little knot. Where'd my little knot go? and it leaves that little knot in there, and you just crochet it. You don't pay attention to it. You just ignore it. I know it's here. I just had it. There we go. So can you see that? That's the little knot right there that it does on its own when it transitions for the colors. And I just ignore it. Just crochet it and ignore it. That's not a problem. But each one, it continues to kind of gradiate a little bit, and it'll kind of snip off one thread and put in the other thread. And it's so exciting because now I'm at that 50-50 with the green, and you can even see here, you can see I'm going to get a darker green, and you can see on that one, you've got more green to yellow. This was like a 50-50. This one's like a 3-to-1. And it's like playing yarn chicken, but not, because, you know, yarn chicken, you're not sure if you're gonna have enough. This one, you know you have enough, but you're like, oh, one more row, a few more stitches, I'm almost there. I've wrapped another wrap around the outside, because I'm going from the outside around the outside. I know where that color is coming in. I want to see it. It's exciting. It's like working with stripes on something or anything that has color changes. It spurs you to work faster. It spurs you on to work a little bit longer and then maybe get your project done quicker. No guarantees on that one, but it could, right? It could, as long as it doesn't have sleeves. I'm just saying, if it has sleeves, all bets are off. But it can get things done a little bit quicker. This is an exciting yarn. And if you've bought a bunch of those, last year I bought a lot from Hirschner's, and I got a lot of these things, you know, these yarns without the ball band, right? Because they're like, hey, it's mystery. I'm like, yeah, I looked at the colors. I know what that one is. And, you know, what do you do with those? What are you going to make with those? Well, you know, you're like, but I don't knit. You know, I got this. I don't knit. I can't do that. That's okay. I'm crocheting a blanket. There are so many gorgeous crocheted blankets out there. And another one that I haven't done yet that I would love to do, and I know Erin from Crafting Kitty is looking at doing something along this line too, is taking two of these cakes that are, you know, they complement each other, but maybe light to dark, dark to light. I don't know. Just two of the cakes that look good together, and do a mosaic blanket with them. You know, now I wouldn't put these two together, but you could. I mean, I wouldn't, but you know, so you're starting from the dark on this side and the light on this side and everything, and you don't have to change colors. You're just doing the whole pattern with the two cakes. That would be stunning. And I do have other colors of cakes that I could come up with something matching. So that's another technique I haven't done. I don't know if you've done it, but I have not done that. And if you have, what pattern should I try? You know, I have not done it, so I don't necessarily want to go too crazy on the pattern, right? I mean, you know, little baby steps, but I want to do that. I think that would be so much fun to, again, start using some of these gorgeous cakes. I got them not just to sit on my shelf. I mean, they do look pretty. They do look pretty up there, but I'd like to use them, put them in a project, do something. I mean, this thing was stunning. This was a full cake of the sparkly stuff. That's all it was just one full cake, knit up, started from the light, and then went to the dark. That is all that is. Absolutely gorgeous. You know what? I think Erin got some very similar. I don't think mine is sparkle. This is sparkle. But I think Erin, when she just ordered from Hirschner's and got her mystery bags in, she got a couple that were very similar to this color without the sparkle. And this was, you know, a lot easier than it looks, because it definitely looks complicated. And I thought about making another one because, you know, I like to do my doubles. Yeah, that's what I'm at right now. Oh, let's see. So this one still had the 1,000 yards in it, just like the others do. And you can see, look, I've gone through it. You know, you can see the size difference, right? I've made a difference. I have made a dent. How exciting. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I am making the Grace, is it Grace or Gracie? The Grace blanket for my grandson, who, if you're new here, he was just born the end of March, preemie. His due date was 17 May. Yeah, I know, he's not even there yet, but this is the Grace blanket for Noah. And with such beautiful colors, with the sunshine yellow going into that deep, deep color, we got the blues. And then, I mean, that is just, that is such a dark navy. It looks black, and that's going to be what finishes it off. I think it's going to be gorgeous. It's not going to be a tiny baby blanket, but I didn't want a tiny baby blanket. It won't be as large as this because knit uses less yarn than crochet, and I used larger needles on this for the knit. So it won't be that big, but it'll be big enough. And I won't need two. I'll just have the one, and it's going to be stunning. And the colors, I'm so happy my husband suggested that with the yellow. And you know, as the rows get bigger, each strip of color will be a little bit less. So it'll definitely be the, you know, radiating out with a large patch of the yellow. We've got that little bit of green. We see I'm in a second color of the green, and going out like that, it is going to be so pretty, so happy, such a beautiful sunshine with that blue and everything for a little boy. I mean, this will be unisex in my opinion, but it's going to be gorgeous. And I'm really excited to be working on this and making something else fun and crocheted for the grandbaby. And I know his sister, the 2-year-old, she definitely got a big crocheted square. I think she got a blue one and a gray one with multicolors of the gray with the neutrals. With that, I love making these. Hadn't made one in a while, and so happy to be back doing so. I am using a size D crochet hook. That is, I could have gone bigger or smaller, either way, but it's a 3.25 millimeter, and I'm happy with it, and I like the way that it looks, and I like the way that it feels. It's going to be wonderful. With that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. You guys have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be, and I will talk to you again later. Bye-bye.